Performing spirituals with her stunning voice has made gospel singer Lynda Randle famous. Many people all across the globe have been moved by her steadfast faith and moving performances. Now, though, a tragic turn of events has put Randle through an unspeakable moral crisis. How she will cope with such a profound religious test is a question that many are asking. This terrifying occurrence, what is it? As we learn more details about this tragic story, be sure to stay tuned. It's just a God thing. It's something that I never dreamed of for myself. You couldn't have paid me any amount of money to believe that this would happen one day. It is difficult to imagine the famous gospel singer Lynda Randle, whose voice has touched millions, going through the same kinds of struggles that the rest of us do. Despite her infectious smile, heartfelt performances, and infectious capacity to uplift listeners with each note, Lynda's health issues have revealed a vulnerability that her legion of fans has never seen before: her fragility. Before it all started, Lynda had a persistent illness. She was unable to sing as she once did due to her health deteriorating in ways she couldn't ignore. Because her singing was her greatest asset as a church singer, it was awful for her. The situation for Lynda deteriorated further as the doctors struggled to determine the source of her illnesses. Her admirers, who had always held her in high esteem as an icon of power and beauty, had no idea the anguish she was experiencing on the inside. So that no one would notice how frail she was, she hid her health issues for as long as she could. You go through in life, but they serve a purpose, and I know that I've grown through so many, and that God has promised that He would never leave us or forsake us. And He's with us, like a mom would cradle her babe or a dad would cradle his child. During a tough storm, God cradles us till the storm passes by. Unfortunately, the symptoms worsened with time. The toll on Lynda's health was high, and she was unable to perform her job duties or lead a regular life. In her time of need, she sought solace in her faith and the support of her loved ones. She found love and strength from her family, particularly her husband Michael and their children, during the toughest times. However, combat was still ongoing. But I'm just being honest here. I went to a Christian school in the Maryland area, and I remember being the only black student in an all-white choir. We sang spirituals and songs, and eventually they asked me to sing. Fast forward to my college days at Liberty University, and I kind of got hooked up with you guys. The Lord brought us together, and as you hang out with the Gaither folks, Bill, He can get you to do anything, things you never thought you would. I still don't consider myself Southern gospel, per se. On February 7, 1962, in the nation's capital, she entered this world. Lynda Tate Randle was born into a family that valued Christian values, music, and labor. Growing up in a rough neighborhood in Washington, D.C., Lynda was accustomed to a tough life. Faith, perseverance, and the significance of being a contributing member of society are values she inherited from her deeply Christian family. She comes from a musical family. Her parents were both accomplished musicians and deeply devout Christians. Singing has always been Lynda's passion. She first gained recognition for her gospel singing talents as a young girl when she frequently sang in the church band. She and her parents used to sing religious songs and hymns when she was little. She picked up the technical aspects of playing the instruments as well as the deeper philosophical underpinnings of the music through this. Yes, my dad, and I had no idea this father existed until Moody Broadcast did a story on Unshackled, was when I say he was a gangster, a gambler, a racketeer, just, completely insane. Even though my dad was the most patient, understanding, and loving man I've ever met, I often found myself overcome with emotion whenever we spoke about his violent temper or the fact that he was always carrying a gun. Lynda wanted to use music to bring hope and comfort to people, and her music was more than just pretty tunes. It demonstrated her faith. Lynda overcame the challenges of her rough neighborhood upbringing through her devotion to God and her love of music. Despite witnessing the hardships endured by those around her, she remained determined. On the contrary, she helped herself and others by making use of her abilities. Using her voice as a means of self-expression and healing would emerge as a recurring theme throughout her life. Finally graduating from high school, Linda enrolled at Lynchburg, Virginia's Liberty University. Both her musical abilities and her knowledge of preaching were honed during her time there. Her time at Liberty was formative because it improved her musical abilities and inspired her to use music as a medium for the proclamation of religious, philosophical, and spiritual values. This is when she realized she had a calling to use her voice and talents in the Christian music industry to make a difference in the world. I kept it a secret until I was nearly 26 years old when I was at the doctor for routine checks and other things. It was then that everything came out. I sobbed as I told the doctor everything. He was a Christian who attended our church, and I thought, wow, that just blew my mind. I had been keeping things hidden all this time because no one wants to talk about what's wrong with them, so I never did. Did your parents or any close female relatives know? I don't think either of them did. But even then, I couldn't help but think about the perpetrator and what happened to them. That's how God shaped my perspective on the situation. It's not just that someone got up and said, "I'm going to do this to you," but what happened to them. So, although I may have been a victim for a while, I am now a victor. I am walking in complete victory, healed and whole. When I meet new people, God gives me the ability to relate, like, I kind of know where you are because of what I've been through. It's pretty cool that God is using this life for His glory. Lynda Randle's career took off in the early 1990s when she became a member of the Gaither Homecoming series. The Gaither vocal band, under the leadership of Bill and Gloria Gaither, was a highly acclaimed and revered church music group during this time. Linda's warm, rich voice and her capacity to deliver powerful, emotionally charged performances won over fans immediately. During her time on the Gaither Homecoming series, Linda's soulful singing and the profound emotion she brought to her performances captivated audiences across the globe, catapulting her to the position of most popular gospel music singer. Her collaborations with the Gaither vocal band brought her even greater fame and cemented her position as a leading star in the industry. In addition to her work on the Gaither Homecoming series, Linda had a successful solo career, releasing albums that showcased her vocal and emotional range. In the realm of religious music, her hits like "God on the Mountain," "Take It One Day at a Time," and "Stay Protected" endeared her to fans and catapulted her to stardom. I was wondering how long you'd been singing and how you got your start. I suppose I was 16 or 17 when music kind of got into my brain. I was enrolled in a cosmetology and fashion design program when I was forcibly enrolled in this Christian school, though my siblings and my Tate did sing as well. They began entering me in competitions after I joined the choir. I wasn't really pursuing it as a ministry until I was a college student in Virginia. But things started to fall into place. "Would you pray for me?" was the most naive thing I could say when I stood up during a concert. That night in my dorm room, as I prayed, the Lord spoke to my spirit and said, "It's not as important that you be the best gospel singer as it is that you have my anointing on your life." That was the beginning of my concerts and churches all over the world. I told myself, one day I want to be the best gospel singer in the world, and I will pray that God makes this happen. Throughout her career, Linda utilized her fame to promote greater understanding and unity among Christians. She made great efforts to unite people of diverse races and nationalities in love and faith. Linda's music was more than just enjoyable, it brought healing, hope, and inspiration to people from all walks of life. Her family was always there for her. She is married to preacher and musician Michael Randall. They have 2 daughters, Joy and Patience. But that yokes are broken and burdens are lifted. And all those things happen, and I do meet people all the time, Linda said, describing how her family support kept her grounded and focused on her goals despite the demanding nature of her job. You know, how does one get along with Bill Gaither? Where does one fit into this intricate web? And I tell them, if you align yourself with God, He will pair you with the people He needs to complete His plan for your life. You promised to make me an irresistible deal, and I'm going to pay you for 4 of the songs I sent you. I would have been much more interested in the album version if I'd known that, but after 4 songs, you said, hey, let me just finish this project, and I'll never forgive you for that. Clearly, you don't know how to proceed with the project. Despite their marital status, Michael has been an unwavering support system for Lynda, serving as a spiritual guide and a rock during the highs and lows of her life and career. In addition to her husband, Lynda's daughters, Patience and Joy, have been a source of strength and joy for her. They remind her of the love and faith she inherited from her mother. Despite the turmoil in her professional life, Lynda frequently mentions the importance of staying close to her family, saying that they help her maintain a sense of calm and peace. The support of her family has been crucial, particularly during difficult times like the loss of her mother. So much has been said and thought about Lynda Randle due to her fame, with some of the worst stories focusing on her health and personal problems. Lynda has always been forthright about the difficulty of coping with loss and sadness, but some news articles have gone too far in suggesting that her health issues are linked to other, more scandalous issues. Well, of course, because of Bill Guider, she said, "We're on TV every day, somewhere in the world." I was amazed that so many people saw Bill's movies and music, and even more amazed that when I got up to sing, people knew the songs. I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. The Guider vocal band was here too, with David Phelps, G. Pandra, and Larry Ford. We were unaware that the music was so popular and beloved. That's why we can come to your country and hang out. It's pretty cool that all these returning singers are coming at the same time. I don't know why, but I believe it's a God thing. Bill's videos have reached so many people, and there are big pockets of fans in Sweden, Norway, and nearby places like Ireland and Scotland. Lynda has always been deeply committed to her faith and has been very open about her struggles with loss and grief. But rumors have circulated that her health problems were caused by her own problems or maybe even her drug use. The rumors gained momentum when Lynda disabled her social media accounts during her health crisis. She has chosen to concentrate on her faith, her music, and her family during this difficult time, while her friends and the media speculated, and Lynda's silence only served to heighten the mystery. Some have even speculated that Lynda's recent health problems were caused by an unspoken personal loss, adding fuel to the rumors. Fans have differing opinions on whether Lynda is making a major comeback or if her health has worsened to the point where she may never act again. Homecoming. What's homecoming all about? Some have asked in regards to the speculation surrounding Lynda's potential return to the music scene after a long hiatus. In a few words, please explain it. It's about relationships, love, and friendships. Music is the glue that holds us all together. Many of these tunes will sound familiar. I believe that the audience can relate to us because a lot of the songs are ones that they grew up with. Even though there are many excellent new songs, these older ones have a certain charm. People say, I know those songs, and it gets to the heart of the matter. When you sing songs like His Eyes on the Sparrow and What a Friend We Have in Jesus, and you know those kinds of songs, accordingly, our return home is merely a cause for joy. I'm curious as to how many years you've spent on the squad. Oh my. Bill Gaither and I have been touring together for the past 13 years, but we first started hanging out in 1993. So how did it all begin? It was at a women's conference in Arizona in 1989 that I first met Gloria Gaither. I love her and I want to take her home. She told the approximately 20 women in attendance. However, I couldn't help but notice that these rumors have sparked intense discussions among Lynda's fans, who are pondering whether she will ever perform on stage in the same manner as before. The real strength of Lynda Randle, in spite of all the speculation and rumors, is that she can keep going when the going gets tough. In spite of everything that has happened to her, she remains steadfast in her faith and her goal of using music to spread love and hope. Even now, Lynda's devoted followers are thinking of her and sending prayers for a speedy recovery. No matter what the future brings, Linda's legacy will remain strong because of the many lives she has touched through her music and ministry. Finally, Linda Randall's story is an inspiring tale of perseverance. Many have found hope in her words, and she has grown stronger as a result of her own hardships. Those who follow her path will find inspiration in this. She probably says that to everyone. So I'm not going to believe her, and I really didn't believe her, but Gloria Gaither went home and told Bill Gaither about me. I was astonished and refused to believe it. After that, I met Bill about 3 or 4 years later. They invited me to record some music in the studio a couple of years later. I said yes in response to Bill's question, "Can you come to a recording?" I was in so much pain the first time I visited that I could hardly look. Nothing was known to me. Even the Gaither films brought them to my attention, but I didn't find out about them until very recently. Even though I was familiar with a few of their names, the Cathedrals included, we didn't listen to their music or style when I was a kid. However, I felt insignificant standing among all these individuals whom God had used for a long time. Where am I going? It's just me, a little chocolate kid from the city center, hailing from the hood, something along those lines, and I simply began to cry repeatedly. I was told by Bill, "I want you to sing a song." Both as a gospel music icon and an example of perseverance and faith, Linda Randall is leaving an indelible mark on history. She has demonstrated true resilience in the face of adversity, which is admirable in a society that frequently seeks perfection. Fans who have admired her for a long time find her even more relatable now that she can handle the highs and lows of her personal and professional lives. Linda is an inspiration to many because she never loses sight of the things that really matter in life: her loved ones, her religion, and her music. She has demonstrated through her trials that it is all right to be vulnerable and confront problems head on. In fact, it is frequently in our weaknesses that we are strongest. The capacity to persevere, to press on when faced with adversity, is a hallmark of a real champion, as she has demonstrated. There have been whispers that she may make a comeback to the stage if she keeps up her health regimen. Linda is aware that her value is not contingent on her stage presence or the approval of an audience, although some of her admirers are eager for her to resume her prominent role. Her devotion to her family, her religion, and the message she conveys through her music are the defining characteristics of her legacy. Viewers of Linda's journey can agree on one thing: her story is far from finished. This holds true regardless of how long they have been fans, whether they started with the Gaither Homecoming series or are new listeners. In addition to her fame as a singer, she is a symbol of hope because she demonstrates that our faith, loved ones, and passions can sustain us through any difficulty. Her health has not defined her, despite the fact that it has been a battle. Love, hope, and the strength of her voice are the things that will always define her. Whatever her future holds, a return to the stage, a more private life, or anything in between, her fans will be there to cheer her on. They are grateful for the gift of music and are inspired by her unfaltering bravery.